So today we're going to be going over a Creed fragrance, and this one you don't hear about too often compared to a lot of the other Creeds that people talk about all the time. This one seems to be known about, a lot of people know about it, but I don't see too many reviews on it and I don't see that many people talk about it. That one is called Spice and Wood. This is from their Royal Exclusives line, so they're even more expensive line than what their regular ones already are. So I'm going to be going over what I think about this one and whether or not it's worth the price, which no Creed is worth the price, but we'll get to that later. So let's go and get into it. So the best way for me to describe how this smells is really just by reading the name, Spice and Wood. That's essentially about all I get from this fragrance. Right off the opening, I get a little bit of an apple pop, just a little bit, and it goes away pretty quickly. But I do get a little bit of apple in the opening, mixing with some cedar wood, some birch, and some spice. And that's pretty much what I get throughout the life of the fragrance, minus the apple that gets covered up extremely quickly, but it is there right in the opening. And the dry down of this, pretty much the same thing, still getting a lot of that wood, still getting that spiciness. I get just a little bit more of a sweetness in the dry down, but not by a lot. This is a very dry and woody fragrance. There isn't really too much going on in terms of depth when it comes to other notes. Like I said, a little bit of sweetness and a little bit of a citrus pop in the opening, that is. After that goes away, you're left with basically a dry, woody fragrance. And for some people that may be kind of boring, some people may not like it. Personally, I enjoy this one a whole lot. Got a carded sample of it a while ago. Ever since I smelled it, I knew it was one that I had to own. It's just very, very masculine. It's very upscale smelling. Now, one thing I do want to talk about. Now, I am going to do a separate video on this, but just comparing this one to Royal Oud real quick, which is another Creed. I like this one more than Royal Oud by a lot. I do enjoy Royal Oud, don't get me wrong, but Spice and Wood, in my opinion, is an even more refined version of Royal Oud. It's more perfected. Obviously, this one does not have oud in it, but there isn't a whole abundance of oud in Royal Oud either, despite the name. Royal Oud, I mainly get a cedar wood bomb with some spice, and that is essentially what you get here too. You get a lot of cedar wood, you get some spice, again you get some birch, but they both are woody, spicy fragrances. But in my opinion, this one is even more upscale, it's even more classy, it smells even more refined than Royal Oud does. And I'm going to do a whole separate video comparing these two, but for now, I'm just telling you my opinion, which ones I think after owning both. I do prefer the smell of this one, despite this one being more expensive, but I'm leaving price out of how I review the fragrance for now, because again, no one pays retail for Creeds. You shouldn't be paying retail for Creeds. You can pick up partials for great prices, and I just don't think it's always a fair way to judge fragrances when, again, you can pick them up way cheaper, way easier. I just want to point out too that this is the older style bottle. It's the flacon with the sprayer. The new, to my knowledge, they don't make them like this anymore. They still make the flacons that look like this, but it's just, like a stopper on the top, like the regular flacons by Creed. But this is the older style with the sprayer. And this is a 250 ml bottle. I looked on Creed's website, and I think this bottle size retails for $9.95, and again, I'm pretty sure it doesn't have the sprayer, correct me if I'm wrong, and I forget what the smaller bottle retails for. So when can you wear Spice and Wood? Theoretically speaking, you can wear it for pretty much any occasion, any season, for anything. It's a woody fragrance for men, so it is very versatile. Again, going back to the price thing I just talked about, it is a little bit more on the expensive side, so you really wouldn't want to just go around spraying this going to the store. You're probably going to save it for certain occasions, and for me, I would probably save it for occasions where I'm going to be dressed up. Maybe I'm going to a nice restaurant, going to a nice dinner, going to some sort of event where I want to smell classy and I want to fit the part of having a dressed up look. That's when I would wear this. I wouldn't wear it to work. I wouldn't wear it to school. You could do that, but personally for me, I wouldn't. I would be saving this for events where I'm dressed up and I want to make a good impression on people. This fragrance will definitely leave the impression that you're put together, that you know what you're doing, you have status, because it just smells so upscale. Now I just want to talk about where I would rank this one in terms of my favorite out of all of my creeds, because I do own a number of them. I got like over 20 bottles now. So I just kind of want to put into perspective where I would rank Spice and Wood among all of those, just so that way you guys can kind of get a feel for how much I actually like it, because I like all of my creeds, right? I like them all. I own a lot of them. So for me to just say, oh, I like this, you know, that it doesn't tell you much. So I would put Spice and Wood right now in my top 3 favorite creeds. That's my top 3 favorite creeds. This one will be in there. It would probably be my 3rd. So there are 2 more that I like more than this one. That's where I would put it right now. Again, that's after me owning a lot of them, and I've smelled pretty much all of them except for a few of the more rare ones and things like that. I haven't smelled them all, but I've smelled a good majority of them. And I would put this in my top 3. So just let that sink in. That's where I would rank it. I'm not just saying that because I'm trying to hype it up or anything. I'm just saying I really enjoy the scent. So let's talk about performance. And this is where it gets pretty depressing. Doesn't perform that good. Maybe 5 to 6 hours longevity, but it turns into a skin scent pretty quickly after that. And it's a bummer, right? You're paying this much for a fragrance. That's where I would start to factor in the price when it comes to, you know, rating this when it comes to performance, because that is unacceptable. When you're paying that much, it should last longer. I get that. But again, I love the smell of it, the actual smell, the quality. I love it. So I still wear it. I still like it. But the performance, it's just bad. It's just not good. So, well, yeah, it's bad. It's not good, obviously. It's just unacceptable for the price. And that's all I have to say about that. Again, longevity, 5 to 6 hours. Projection, not that good. And it does die down quickly. So overall performance isn't that good, and that's going to be a factor that will kill it for a lot of people. So then talking about compliments, this one would get you compliments. Again, if people can smell you, if they can't smell you, they're not going to compliment you on it. So that's kind of the catch-22. Yes, it will get you compliments if they can actually smell it. And in this case, people probably aren't going to smell it on you as much unless they're getting really, really close to you, which there's nothing wrong with that. This fragrance isn't supposed to be the type of fragrance that's going to scream off your skin, that's going to project across the room. So I'm not knocking it for that. But just in general, though, with longevity especially, not the best for the price. So again, compliments, it will get you some. It will get you positive feedback if they can smell you. So guys, I'm just going to wrap it up here. My overall thoughts, again, I really, really love the fragrance. It's in my top 3 creeds right now, and I really like it. It's just so classy. It's so sophisticated. I always feel so good when I wear it. I just feel like $1,000,000 because, in my opinion, it smells like $1,000,000. It's just very, very good. It's a dry, woody fragrance with some spice. If that sounds like something that would interest you, then definitely grab a sample. But this probably isn't going to be for everyone. Some people, they may find it boring. They may find that dry woodiness just boring. And that's okay. I could see why. But for me personally, I really like it more than Royal Oud, which I'll do a video on that anyway. Royal Oud would be the better value, I would say, because it performs better and it's quote-unquote cheaper. But again, I'm going to get into that in another video. But overall, I really like Spice and Wood, and I do want to bring up the pricing thing again. Retail, don't do it. Don't buy any creed for retail. You can find the 75 ml bottles, which are like tall and skinny looking bottles. You can find those for around $240, $250 if you know where to look. I've seen them on eBay before. So again, that is still pretty expensive for 75 ml. But what are you gonna do? That's just kind of how it goes. It says they're Royal Exclusives line, which are even more ungodly expensive than the regular one. So that would probably be your best option if you're looking to get some. Am I saying you should blind buy this scent? No. Definitely get a sample of it first because it is very expensive. And again, the performance thing is going to disappoint some people. For me, it's worth owning because I like it. If you would have asked me a year ago if this fragrance would be worth owning, I probably would have told you no because the performance sucks. But at this point in my fragrance hobby, I've kind of gotten away from that whole performance being the deciding factor overall of how I judge fragrances and how I like them. I kind of put that to rest, and I judge fragrances based off of how they smell and how much I like them. And again, in this case here, even though it performs bad, I still like it, I still wear it. So that's just kind of one of those things you have to kind of make the decision by yourself. You know, is this performance that is bad going to ruin the fragrance for me? And for me, again, no. For a lot of people, yes, it will. And that's understandable, especially if you're paying that much money. But you can get good deals on bottles if you know where to look. And I've been saying this time and time again. Join the Facebook groups. Look on there. I just picked up a partial for $100. Doesn't get much cheaper than that. So it is possible to get your hands on for a good price. But the truth is, a lot of people are lazy. A lot of people are too lazy to do that. They don't care to do that. They just like to go on Amazon, buy the first thing they see, and have it show up in 2 days. They don't want to work for it. They don't want to look for it. They just want it. So that's that. I'm going to leave it here, guys. If you enjoyed this review, don't forget to leave a like. Also, don't forget to subscribe and turn on post notifications so you don't miss when I post. Also, leave a comment down below if you have tried Spice and Wood and what you think of it. Also, if you've tried Royal Oud as well, and you can compare those two. Just let me know what you think of this in general. And that's going to do it, guys. I will see you in the next one. Peace out.